So today is June the 10th, 2024. I'm Astrologer Dawn, and I'm looking at Jennifer Lopez. So what drew me to Jennifer Lopez at the moment? Well, I've been reading lots of bits and bobs about her. I also watched her YouTube, not YouTube, Amazon documentary, This Is Me Now. I've been listening to her talk, seeing little things here and there. I think the biggest thing was that I heard through the grapevine that if you're a Virgo, don't bother trying out for her dance troupe because she doesn't hire Virgos. And I thought, that's interesting. I wonder how much she actually knows about astrology, because you wouldn't get rid of somebody because of their sun sign. There's so many other things. So I thought, well, that would, make me have a look at what's in her chart. Well, she happens to have Pluto, which is about transformation, about really digging in deep and pulling up the roots of something. It happens to be in the sign of Virgo. So there are some stuff around perfectionism that Jennifer has to look at this time. And it's at this time in her life that it would be good to do that, especially as she's already started on this journey of self-discovery. And then I thought, I wonder if one of her husbands was a Virgo, and that's got something to do with it, or has got prominent Virgo. So I went all the way back to husband number one, which is Ojani. I think that's how you say it. And no, he's not a Virgo and doesn't really have much Virgo in him. Chris Judd, now his moon is in Virgo. So, and his communications are in Virgo, and his Pluto is in Virgo. So that could have something to do with it. And then Mark Anthony, he's the one with the sun sign in Virgo, Jupiter in Virgo, Uranus in Virgo, Pluto in Virgo. But I wouldn't expect to hear her saying anything negative about him because she's got children with him. So it could be based on something that has to do with either Chris Judd, more likely Mark Anthony, because Chris's moon is the Virgo, and so she would have felt any criticism. And of course, Virgos can be critical, and so that may have come out more fully with Mark Anthony. Really strangely, of course, is that she's actually compatible with Mark Anthony, given where his moon, his Mercury and his Venus, as well as his Mars are. So it's actually quite interesting that that one did not work out. She's compatible with Chris in the sun and the moon and the work ethic. So the sun is the personality, the moon is the emotions. With Ojani, just the drive, a really, good drive. So then, of course, I have to look at Ben, because this has been an on and off again thing. So in terms of their moons, they both have their moons in Scorpio. So that's a very deep connection. People with Scorpio moons really have this ability to feel out other people, what's going on with them, certainly emotionally. They make really good psychiatrists and psychologists, therapists. They also make great detectives as well. Their communications are compatible, but I would say Jen is far more chatty than Ben is, because his is retrograde. So a lot of his stuff would be things he would put down in writing. And that's probably, why he's been a good director. And it seems he does better. It's not that I don't love his acting and the things he's been in. It's just he seems to do better behind the scenes when he's producing, directing other people. I like that. And that fits with who he is. Whereas Jennifer, her communications in Leo, it's vocal powers, and the ability to talk. In her chart, it's not unusual that she's been married 4 times, because her Venus is in Gemini. Venus in Gemini, they can get bored very quickly. They need to be kept excited, interested. The person that they're with has to constantly keep them entertained in some ways. Now, that is an area that Ben and Jennifer are not compatible in, because his is in Cancer, so stability for him is important. Having a home, one home, all the kids there, friends over. He's much more of that. Jennifer is here in this lifetime to really pursue spirituality. She's been very practical in previous lifetimes, but this is a lifetime of being very spiritual. And it's funny because Ben is much more about learning how to be successful in a corporate world, and learning to navigate, and create what that looks like for himself. So that's very different. The twins, I'm going to come back to Jen and Ben in a minute, but it's interesting because both Emma and Max have their moon in Virgo, which is what Jennifer does not like in terms of dancers for some reason. Love to know what that is. But they were born not quite on a full moon. Yeah, not quite on a full moon because they are born with their sun signs in Cancer, but their moon is in Virgo, which is opposite. And yet their communications and how they love and what they love can be very like wide and varied because it's in Aquarius, and they do love to communicate. They like freedom, definitely like that. And they will have a lot of luck with business as well. Maybe it's learning the business that their mom's in or taking something from that and creating something. Okay, and let me just see what types they are. Oh, yeah. Okay. So back to Jen. So then I thought, well, I'm looking at her natal chart. So I need to look at what are the biggest changes for right now. So with Pluto, that planet of transformation and rebirth, it's like we have to dig into an area of our life that we can really sort of, it's like taking the heart out, looking at it, which valve isn't working correctly. The surgeon cuts that valve, puts a new valve in, puts the heart back, and on he goes to another operation because he's done it 1,000 times. So what is the area of her life? Well, with Pluto being in early Aquarius, it's only just hit her 7th house. It's going to go back into her 6th house for a little while. And then nearly 20 years going through the 7th. So this is going to be a major change in relationships. Freedom is certainly going to be important. And it doesn't necessarily mean divorce. It's not, it can, but it's not necessarily pointing at that. It's really looking at the relationships that she's had, and are they working anymore? Does she feel like she's carrying certain people? Has she outgrown somebody, or people in general, or ways of doing things? So expect some change around that. It's all going to culminate with her understanding herself more spiritually, probably getting more therapy. Based on what she was describing in the video, is like a love addiction. And I'm not sure how long of recovery each love addict needs before they embark on something new. I don't know, because I'm not a professional in that area. However, having been involved with addicts on and off over the last, well, all my life actually, but more professionally recently, it just seems that being on her own would be actually better for her. But the kids, she's still got the kids, so it's not about on her own. But this is a period of discovery. I think that's the other thing. So making sure that she's not hampered by not being able to discover something about herself. I have a chart for LA as well, because I do relocated astrology, and so I have to look at what's going on there. That is definitely about her intimate relationships, and eventually it's going to go into learning a lot more. Probably in the next, I'd say 5 years, it'll be going into really learning something that's important to her, that's new. You haven't discovered it yet, Jennifer. So it is It can be getting a degree in something, which sounds sort of old fashioned in this day and age. So it's not something like, oh, I know, maybe it's publishing because it's ninth house. So you could be publishing something. You could have maybe bought a script or something and you're the producer, or there's that kind of stuff that feels like it's going on, but in the next, it's like 5 years from now. So it doesn't mean not entertaining, but if you do, you'll be going worldwide because the ninth house is worldwide. So I have to look at a chart where she's living now and also at the natal chart as well. And then just quickly looking at your human design chart, manifesting generator with a defined ego and the money line. Money is never going to be a problem making it. It's just where you spend it. You're here to be a role model. You also have to be called out for your gifts and talents. You're here to succeed. You make your decisions from your gut. So forget about that Virgo sun sign thing. You need to know more about if they've got it in other areas that are much more important. You know, it's actually quite good for you to hire somebody who's got Mars in Virgo because their work ethic is going to be great. And isn't that what you want? Don't you want to get as much done as quickly as possible with the best people so that you can do all the other things that you want to do? That's the thing you have to think about. Great communicator. But gut, you listen to your gut, because your gut, your sacral energy is what is your authority. So you don't have to sleep on things. You're going to get lots of ideas. Don't attach to them until somebody goes, oh, somebody else says, have you thought about blah, blah, blah? And it'll be something you've heard from somewhere else. It's called angel talk. Those are the kind of things for you to sort of hold on to and explore a bit more. So you're a manifesting generator, which means you have to have something to respond to. Yes, you can manifest, but it's got to come from somewhere else first. So an idea, a thought, two people say the same thing. You keep reading the same thing, which is why I'm doing the JLo thing, although I'm not a manifesting generator. It's like you got to have something to respond to, and the response will be in your gut. It'll either be uh-huh, uh-uh, or if there's no sound, you don't have enough information, or you don't know what they're talking about in a way that makes sense to you that you could make a decision. So you need to research it more. You are here to be called out for your gifts and talents. You've always been talented and completely underrated in so many areas. And you're not done yet. Anyway, that was the quickest reading I could do for JLo. And I look forward to seeing what she's doing in the future. You can check me out at astrologerdawn.com or give me a call at 520-419-5419. See what's in your chart. Namaste.